I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension.
Are you a god?
No.
Then...
The Ghostbusters are dead, and they have nobody to blame but themselves.
I blame myself.
So do I.
The first Ghostbusters is a comedy classic, so awesome it spawned a cartoon.
Dopey dog, flying through the air. Dopey dog, flying everywhere.
A video game.
Why do the good ones always play hard to get?
A fruit drink that can only be described as diabetes inside a cardboard box. And over 200 subpar sequels people try and pretend are good.
Nice. Flames, by the way. Thanks. Yeah, I burned alive in a horrifying tenement fire.
Well, what if we can make one of the best sequels, Ghostbusters 2, better? You say impossible because it's literally beat for beat Ghostbusters 1, but infinitely more depressing, and I might agree with you if I stuck my head in a microwave. So for the rest of you who still have a brain that functions, I have a plan.
I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's do it.
The first Ghostbusters starts off where the guys have a really good gig of making co-eds think they are psychic and tricking them into going on dates.
But I'd like to work with you some more. Perhaps you could come back this evening, say at
8 o'clock?
I was just going to say 8 o'clock.
The college cock blocks them, of course, so they have to go start a successful small business busting ghosts.
Start bringing them down. You got them. Don't cross the stream.
Maybe now you'll never slime a guy with a positron collider, huh?
And tricking women into going on dates.
I'm working on that. If we could get together Thursday night, I'm thinking 9-ish. You know, we could exchange information.
What's even more awesome about the Ghostbusters is that they wear nuclear accelerators on their backs, like book bags from hell, and not one of them took the time out to run some tests on them.
You know, it's just occurred to me we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
Why worry? Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
Fully understanding that testing weapons that can not only vaporize you but an 8-city block radius is a bitch move. Instead, they decide to field test it, putting all of New York City in danger, which is pretty badass.
What the hell are you doing?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. We thought you were someone else.
The proton packs do work, but at the last second, Egon mentions one safety tip out of what seems like there should be 1,000 of.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams. Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
I'm sure that's not going to come up again. Later on, to defeat the final bosses of Gozer and a 100-foot-tall Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, it comes up again.
The door swings both ways. We could reverse the particle flow through the gate.
How?
We'll cross the streams.
Holy shit, dude, will you make up your fucking mind? So they break their apparent one and only rule. This is totally normal for the men to touch the tips of their wands together while shooting out thick energy ropes at a single woman. With their streams crossed, they send Gozer straight back to hell in the most savage way possible, by completely nuking the entire roof and roasting the face off the Marshmallow Man. Feel the burn, shithead. There is an explosion so big it rips the sky a new butthole. And somehow the Ghostbusters lived and are championed as heroes? Yeah, right. I'm not buying this shit for 1 second, neither should you. Remember, Venkman said this.
See you on the other side, Ray.
And that's exactly where the hell they went. The shitty mirror world of Part 2, where nobody remembers their heroes.
Lenny,
Thoughts.
Pete Venkman.
Can I help you?
Yeah, get your hand off me.
Nobody respects them.
And are there any other paintings in the museum with bad spirits in them?
And even snot-nosed kids think they're clowns.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be He-Man.
Fuck you, you ungrateful little shits. Unbeknownst to them all, and more importantly us the audience as well, we're all living in this collective and private hell called Ghostbusters 2. Set in purgatory, the Ghostbusters are no longer a team anymore. And just like their terrible children, half of New York pretends a giant marshmallow didn't try to stomp their living guts out until the Ghostbusters saved them.
Nobody steps on a church in my town!
So now everyone gets a do-over and a shot at redemption, including the almost irredeemable citizens of New York. Ray, the goober of the group, thinks that all smarts he accumulates by reading is going to help save everyone. But the fact is, once out in the field, his big dumb brain is what got a lot of people killed. He summoned Stay Puft.
Tried to think of the most harmless thing. Something I loved from my childhood. Something that could never, ever possibly destroy us. It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
This is the most common tactical error dorks in the field make. Please stop embarrassing yourself and others by trying to think your way out of a jam.
Stop that!
But in Ghostbusters 2, where do we find Ray trapped? In a bookstore, forced to be stuck with all this knowledge with no real-world application. Yet Ray redeems himself with another giant, this time a force for good, by pumping his goo up Lady Liberty's skirt. And taking super advantage of her with his joystick. Instead of her curb stomping future ungrateful citizens, she smacks the shit out of Ghost Jello. Complaints about Pete Venkman is that he never grew as a character, and I'm over here like, who cares, he's got one-liners, and that's good enough for me.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass! Alright. This chick is toast!
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Somewhere down the line, Dana had a baby? This kid seemingly came out of nowhere, and I'm starting to think it was put there by the devil, if you know what I mean.
And you're a terrible burden on your poor mother.
Pete's world seems to be all about Pete. The only reason he got with Dana at the end was not because he tricked her, but because he turned her into a hot dog by crossing the streams.
Smells like barbecued dog hair. Oh, Venkman. Oh, Venkman, I'm sorry.
Which totally makes sense on why she named the ghost baby Oscar.
Named after a hot dog. You poor man. You poor, poor man.
In Ghostbusters, when he first checks out Dana, she calls him the worst name you can ever call a scientist.
You know, you don't act like a scientist. You're more like a game show host.
And in Ghostbusters 2, he's not that far from being just that.
That's all the time we've got for this week on World of the Psychic. Next week, though, hairless pets. Weird.
Yet, in this purgatory he finds himself in, he manages to grow. He's affectionate towards Dana's unnatural bastard, caring for someone who can't give him anything back. In this movie, he seems ready to commit to Dana and finally be a family man, which is fine, as long as he doesn't drop the one-liners.
Hey! Egon! Yeah, you, the bimbo with the baby. Didn't anybody tell you the big shoulder look is out?
Or the ghost baby. Now that's growth indeed. With these next two, though, it gets a bit tricky, but I think we can make sense out of them.
We'd like to get a sample of your brain tissue.
Egon is clearly the autistic one who can't seem to register even the most basic human emotions, like someone trying to bang him.
Some people think I'm too intellectual, but I think it's a fabulous way to spend your spare time. I also play racquetball. Do you have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
In this fresh new hell he finds himself in, he's back in the lab where he's researching positive and negative emotional responses in children by giving them a puppy.
Isn't that sweet?
And doing the sciencey thing of ripping the puppies right out of their arms, just as they were beginning to fall in love with them.
Let's see what happens when we take away the puppy.
Later, they find that there is a pink sludge underneath New York City that is somehow not a puree of the homeless population.
Slime!
And discovering that the slime responds to human emotions.
You're nothing but an unstable short-chain molecule!
Egon is forced to stop acting like a scientist to interact with it and other people on an emotional level. I really want to stop talking about emotions now.
Stop that!
And lastly, there's Winston, who says this.
If there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
He's got a family of 5 to feed, idiot, and he really doesn't give a shit what you do around here as long as you sign the check and it doesn't bounce. After spending a total of 8 hours busting ghosts, he says this.
Since I joined these men, I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
This is true, and for all of Ghostbusters 2, Winston lives on thinking he is a white man by dancing like one. Also, his eyes are beginning to open to the possibility that they're all dead and the Ghostbusters need to wake up to that fact.
Ray, man, face it, Ghostbusters doesn't exist.
Being the multi-layered and mysterious character that Winston is, his do-over is also just about him processing all the crazy shit he's experienced, and of course to regain his blackness.
Sorry, I missed it.
This is a bulletproof theory and there's nothing you can do to argue against it. If you don't think I'd just improve Ghostbusters 2 for you, well then...
You're short, your belly button sticks out too far, and you're a terrible burden on your poor mother.
Hey, what the hell? Did you subscribe to the channel? You leave a comment? You leave a comment? Go ahead, leave a comment. I'm out of here.